Hello, everyone. I'm here with my friend Omar Serrano, the Tilted Lawyer. He is out of town right now, but he graciously decided to join us tonight to talk a little bit about Justin Baldoni's deposition, which you were pretty busy for a while. So when this came out, you were not really around. So I guess it's the first time we're really going over it.
Yeah, but the good thing is I just went through Blake Lively's deposition in light of the MSJ.
Right.
And I thought it would be a fun exercise to try to role play the Justin Baldoni deposition. And you were going to be Ezra. And
yeah, I think Mike
Hunty
Gottlieb actually did his. I forgot about that. And I started reading it again. And I was like, Mike Gottlieb actually did his deposition. I'll tell you why that bothered me, because the first thing that Mike Gottlieb said here was, "Good morning, Mr. Baldoni. Have you ever been sexually harassed?" So
what's wrong with that?
I feel like that's a little bit of a sharp way to start a conversation. And as a non-lawyer, that bothers me because I am not an attorney, and I think that is heinous. So,
hey, the whole purpose of being an attorney when you're questioning folks is to make them feel uncomfortable. And so it's like you start off the deposition. Hello, Justin. Have you ever had your shit pushed in? Has somebody ever threatened to? Never mind.
I mean, that might be a little dramatic, but I'm not sure.
It depends on the case, though, right?
Tonight, are we? Says Christina. Yeah, not that kind of role play, but yeah.
Have you ever gestured in an inappropriate way at a woman's chest?
Me or Justin?
Well, that's what Lively said that he did.
Because I have not.
He waved his hand up and down in such a way that made her uncomfortable. And she felt like she was on full display for everybody on the production set as she sat sexually staring into the void in her onesie.
I found that interesting, considering it never came up before.
Ever.
Right. Never came up before. And then she was like, all of a sudden, she was like, "Well, I had a thing with my cleavage out." And he was like, "A nice outfit." You know,
nobody saw your cleavage, Blake.
I mean, a lot of people probably did. She was breastfeeding. I'm like, my thought when I saw that was like, she's breastfeeding. She's wearing outfits that are like easy for breastfeeding. I'm not
There's nothing sexual about a woman breastfeeding.
No, there's not.
When women are doing that, they're like completely like closed off to that.
Right. And
for some men,
I hear your wife laughing in the background, Omar.
What happened?
So I hear your wife laughing in the background.
Oh, she's talking shit. She's me and her are both lit right now. So.
Oh yeah, I know. But what did she have to say about that? She thought that was funny, I guess.
Oh, I didn't hear. I didn't hear what she said. But she was saying something about, I'm not a sexual person when I'm breastfeeding. So
right, exactly.
She said she feels like an orangutan.
Orangutan? That's
what she said.
Anyways, we get started off the bat here, and Gottlieb is like, "Have you ever been sexually harassed?" And Justin goes through this story with Gottlieb.
I would answer that question, yes, I have.
You or Justin?
I definitely have been sexually harassed, like in real life.
Wait, I mean, do you want to talk about that, or do you want us to move on? Because either way,
I've talked about it before. I'm pretty sure I've talked about it with you, like live on screen
on
before.
The interwebs. You know what I mean? So.
Oh well, just like in my days with DHL, there's some nasty old women out there.
Yeah.
They had lots of comments when I was a young delivery boy of 19 years old, and so I'm sure Justin has had similar experiences.
Mm-hmm. I mean, people I feel like think that males cannot be sexually harassed because they think it's funny or cool. I'm like, that's not always the case.
Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't. When you're 19, you're just getting out of high school and you're still trying to navigate the world and trying to figure out how to talk to women, and then they come up and ask you, "Hey, you know what a pearl necklace is?" And I'm like, "No." So you want me to show you? And then they're all cackling hens, start laughing in the background, and I don't know what they're talking about, but I kind of think it's probably something dirty. And then, I probably think I know what that means. I don't want her to show me what a pearl necklace is, per se, but it was just a thing that they felt comfortable doing, and their boss in the background, or whoever that guy was laughing along with them. And so it made me feel really uncomfortable in a way that was socially acceptable back in 1999, but not flying 2026. And so I just grew up in a different time and space. So the things that should have bothered me, per se, according to people in 2026, they didn't bother me insofar as I felt personally injured.
Right.
or scarred, is what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But was it inappropriate? Sure, it was.
Yeah. So I guess they kind of put him in that situation of like feeling uncomfortable, like something was inappropriate, but then they're asking him questions that make him feel bad about it. So he says, like, did you tell this male director that you felt sexually harassed by him before you told your story? Or they talk about him, how he told his story where he was like sexually assaulted or abused by his ex-girlfriend, and say, did you give a chance for your ex-girlfriend to tell her side of things, to talk to her before you told your story to this magazine or whatever? And he never used their names, but I guess they're trying to catch him off guard and be like, well, maybe
We
Blake
should definitely role play this one. Yeah, we got to see how this one played out. Okay, you're gonna be the questioner.
Okay, let me hang on. Let me find out where we need to start here.
Okay, that's probably the best way to handle it, because just so you know, I'm probably 0.13.
Okay, all right. So where you want to be the answer or the questioner?
I will be Justin.
You will be Justin. Okay. Well, why don't we just start from the top here? Good morning, Mr. Baldoni. Have you ever been sexually harassed? Right here.
Yes.
When?
That I have reported, or just in my life?
Let's start with ones you've talked about, times you've talked about.
Harassed. I believe I spoke about a time when I was in the Burke Williams Spa in West Hollywood, and I was in the hot tub waiting for a massage, and I had my shorts on, my bathing suit shorts on, and there was a gentleman there that was like multiple hot tubs, and he was in another hot tub, and I saw him look at me, which I was used to, looks and things, and then he joined me in my hot tub, and he started to share he was a producer or a manager, and then he tried to get me to take my bathing suit off because he said that all the other actors and celebrities go in the hot tub naked. I said I wasn't comfortable with that, so I jumped into the other hot tub. And then he followed me into that hot tub, and he was nude, and he walked. I was sitting in the hot tub, and he walked right up to me fully nude, and then he sat in the hot tub with me, and he continued to try to get me to take off my bathing suit, and then I left.
And I think you told this story in an interview with Glamour magazine. Is that right?
I don't know which magazine it was. I remember talking about it with only once, and it was right after a speech that I gave.
Okay, after that TED talk that you gave?
Yes, at TED Women.
Do you recall being asked the question prompting that answer? Did you ever feel like you were harassed or victimized on set?
I don't remember that.
Okay, but as you sit here today, this is the first example that you have brought up in response to my question of whether you've ever been sexually harassed.
That's the first response that I think you asked me if I've talked. Damn it, Lauren. I talked about it publicly.
Sorry. Why did you feel harassed by what this producer did?
I was asking me to get naked in the hot tub with him and standing very close to me with his naked genitals, like intentionally, like walking close to my face. It was just him and I in there. He was using the idea that he's a successful manager to try to get me to do something I didn't want to do. And it was very sexual.
It made you uncomfortable?
Obviously.
That's not the answer you gave.
Obviously, I changed it.
Okay. And you told him that you didn't want him to do that.
Yes.
And then you did it again.
Yes.
And then you left.
Yes.
Why did you perceive this person to have power, or how did he seem powerful to you?
He said that he was powerful. I don't think I felt that he was powerful necessarily, but he was claiming he knew all the A-listers, and he would say things like, Clooney is in here all the time without his shorts on. And, referring to, I don't know. I was maybe 22, 25 years old, and he was older, much older.
Okay. Lauren, am going to pause for a second, not Lauren pretending to be Michael Gottlieb, but I'm going to pause for a second and say this, in light of everything, this answer that he just gave, that you just read, is very insightful into why he felt so afraid of Blake and Ryan and their A-list connections, I think. And how he's always been in that kind of position where he was like, well, I'm afraid of people who have these connections and have more power than me because they can basically make me do what they want.
It's the spider web of discretion, I guess.
Right.
And you get caught up in that web, and everybody's doing it. All the biggest stars are doing it. There go. You want to be a big star? You do what I say.
Mm-hmm. Did he touch you?
No.
Did he threaten you?
No,
So he didn't assault you.
I wouldn't call it assault. I don't believe I characterize it as an assault.
I didn't. So you did, sir.
Yeah,
You were bigger and stronger than this guy, right?
I would imagine I was.
This wasn't someone the size of Dwayne Johnson or The Rock or something like that.
It was not.
Okay, again, this is off script. That's really funny in light of everything that happened with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, who is apparently the person behind the Stephanie Jones websites. But okay. Anyways, so if it had come to it, you probably could have knocked the guy out.
I'm not much of a fighter. I would have left.
You didn't work for the guy, right?
No,
So you had no employment relationship with him?
no, I didn't.
Okay. Do you know who he was? I think he told you say this part, sorry.
And he told me his name, but
Did you try to find him after the incident and talk to him about it?
no,
Did you try to find him before you talked about this event in Glamour magazine?
no,
You didn't want to give him an opportunity to take accountability for his actions and make it right.
I didn't name him.
But you described him and described who he was friends with and the spa you were in.
I don't know if I described who his friends were.
Do you know his name as you sit here today?
No.
I think you already talked about your experience with your college girlfriend. Is that right?
Yes,
Do you believe that your college girlfriend sexually assaulted you?
I do.
Do you believe she raped you?
I'm not sure if I believe she raped me. No.
If I understand some of the talks you've given about this, this is something that you sort of remembered or confronted during therapy.
Yes.
How many years after this event or events occurred would you say you confronted it through therapy?
Maybe starting about 10 years after.
Okay, and I'm not going to ask you about your conversations you've had with your therapist or your lawyers in this deposition. But apart from those conversations with your therapist, what did you do to try to piece back together what happened to you that 10 years prior?
I mean, it was a lot of therapy, a lot of meditation, thinking about it, going back and forth. It wasn't like just one moment and then suddenly it's like, oh, that's what happened. It's a journey. And the memories, they shift and they come and go, and then you justify. But it was just a lot of therapy conversations with my wife.
How long did I think you've described this as a very bad relationship. Is that fair?
It was not a good relationship.
The relationship with the college girlfriend?
Yeah,
How long did it last?
I believe about a year and a half.
Did you all have mutual friends?
I believe at that point it was just we all kind of had the same friends.
You had a group of friends that in college, and sorry, what years of college was this for you?
Freshman year going into sophomore year.
Okay, so you had a group of friends that you all hung out with, and sorry, I need to back up. Where did you go to college?
Cal State Long Beach.
Okay, so freshman and sophomore at Cal State Long Beach. That's a big school, right?
Yes.
And you and your girlfriend had a relationship that lasted some amount of time. I imagine there are people who knew you were dating.
She didn't attend the school. She didn't go to college.
Did your friends at college know who you were dating?
Yeah, a few of them did.
Okay, before you talked about what happened to you in public, did you go back to talk to your college girlfriend?
No,
Did you try to find her?
no,
Did you ever attempt to communicate to let her know that you were going to be accusing her of sexual abuse in public?
no,
Did you ever go back to talk to any of your college friends or people that you might have hung out with mutually to tell them that you were going to do what you were going to do?
I don't know anybody from back then.
Do you have any idea whether or not your college girlfriend would agree with the way you have remembered the events reflecting to the losing of your virginity?
I don't know what she would think. I don't know who she is anymore.
But you thought it was okay to go on TV and tell the world that your college girlfriend had sexually abused you without ever talking to her about it.
I wasn't aware I needed to ask her permission to share my story.
Am I right that one of the things that was most traumatic about this to you is that you were saving yourself for marriage?
That was a part of it. I also just wasn't ready.
And so you were a virgin at age 18 when you met her in college.
Yes.
And I believe your description of what happened is that you woke up in the middle of the night and she was taking it from you. Is that an accurate description of your words?
No.
How would you describe it?
I think you're confusing two different stories.
Okay.
I don't mean to, say you're wrong, but that wasn't the story that I shared in my book.
Okay, you've never described the incident when you lost your virginity as waking up and discovering your college girlfriend was taking it from you without your consent.
No, that wasn't the story of how I lost my virginity.
Okay. I'm mistaken then?
There was a moment in the relationship where I was woken up by her on top of me having sex with me. but that was after I had already lost my virginity.
What's her name? And then the lawyer says, "Don't answer that." Basically,
Yeah, fuck
they
off.
argue about that back and forth a little bit. Yeah. Okay.
Your mama's name. What's your mama's name? How about that? Edna.
Yo, maybe not. Are there any other incidents relating to sexual harassment or abuse that you have suffered that you have talked about publicly?
I don't believe so.
Okay, I want to stop there. So this line of questioning, from your perspective, why would an attorney come out and do this line of questioning? It's not related to the claims at all. So what do you think the strategy is here?
Well, they're trying to establish that he has himself been aware that certain characterizations or certain behaviors amounted to what he would have defined as harassment.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to break down any defense that he has when Lively says that she was uncomfortable on set when she's wearing her onesie, or that she was uncomfortable with him making certain characterizations of her physical appearance, that she was out of line because he himself has been aware that that would make certain people uncomfortable, namely him. So they're trying to walk him into a trap, and he's just not giving in.
Gotcha. So I mean, I've heard other people say that they feel like he did pretty well in this and like not giving too much information or not really over answering questions, basically.
Well, he's doing a good job of, because that's kind of the thing. Like, don't say too much.
Right.
Only answer the questions that they ask.
Yeah.
Don't give in with your leading questions. Don't say you don't know if you really just don't remember. You might have known before. He's very well prepared. He's doing well.
Okay. Well, I feel like I think I would do terrible in one of these depositions because I'm a classic oversharer, and so my lawyer would have a hell of a time.
I honestly think you'd do really well. Like if you were my client and you were getting deposed, I think that you would follow my instructions exactly.
If you put me in a situation where there's like adrenaline and a reason to not answer these questions, I probably would. But just as a normal person, if somebody started asking me these questions, I can guarantee you in any other setting, I would just start answering the questions ad nauseum, like oversharing so much.
For sure. If you went in there without an attorney, you're cooked. You're cooked.
All right. Anyways, let me just skim over some of this studio stuff. We're not going to get through the entire deposition. Guys.
Yeah, let's go to the most relevant parts, I guess.
Yeah, get down here.
Is that what you like scribbled out in red?
I crossed out some of the pages that I had like already read and didn't really have too much to do that I felt like we had to read.
Yeah.
So this stuff about policy and blah blah blah, I don't think we need to go through that.
If you could go to the portions and like kind of give his characterization of events.
Yeah. So here's
Lively's.
A little bit here, and I'll start reading here by Mr. Gottlieb. Let's see. Let me try it a different way because that's going to take us down a lengthy rabbit hole that you won't like, and your lawyers won't like, and I will regret. You said that you had not been aware of allegations of sexual harassment or retaliation until the filing of the lawsuit.
Yes.
Okay. Do you understand that there were factual allegations that informed Miss Lively's complaint asserting sexual harassment and retaliation?
Can you break down what you mean by that?
Okay. Do you understand that Miss Lively's complaint or this lawsuit that you have said led to the launching of an investigation? That lawsuit included allegations of events that took place on specific dates and times that Miss Lively asserted constituted sexual harassment and retaliation. Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand that.
Okay. Is your testimony that you were unaware of the incidents that were described in the complaint, or is it your testimony that you were unaware that Miss Lively thought that those incidents constituted sexual harassment or retaliation?
My testimony is that this lawsuit and the New York Times article and the CRD complaint was the first that I'd heard of many of these allegations that evidently I was at or a part of, which I completely disagree with whether or not they happened. That said, the reason we launched an investigation was because this was the first official complaint lawsuit against us. So that investigation happened because it was past the HR complaint situation. It was now an official, very public situation.
Okay. Is it your understanding of the Wayfair policy that in order to investigate allegations of sexual harassment or retaliation, that an official HR complaint needs to be filed by the complainant?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Let's see. Hang on. Actually, in fact, didn't we just look at on page 6 of the policy in the section entitled Supervisor and Manager Responsibilities? There's a line that says, as read, if any supervisor or manager becomes aware of a violation of this policy, they are obligated to report the violation to HR/management so Wayfair Studios can investigate and, if appropriate, take corrective action.
I see that. Yes.
So it is actually under your Wayfair Studios policy. It's not incumbent upon the person who feels that they have been harassed to come forward with a formal HR complaint. Is that right?
I don't know if there's another part of this that says there needs to be a formal HR complaint or not. So I don't know.
So I don't think that we need to read through the rest of this. I just wanted to get to that part because I have a question that I feel like hasn't been answered yet. If these people were to have, technically not followed their company policy to a T as far as complaints go, is that going to be a problem legally in like a federal court as far as harassment goes?
Well, my understanding of it is there was never a formal complaint filed that would have launched them or required them to do anything.
Right.
So we don't even get to ask that question. But had she formally filed a complaint and they didn't follow their own HR practices or standards when it comes to those kinds of complaints, then there could be some issues there.
Yeah. So that's kind of my question about it. It's like she went to, let's say, Ange, the Sony rep on set and said, I didn't like this or that. Ange then, raised that with Justin, who was the director, and also he's like the co-owner of the studio, and Justin immediately apologized. The behavior changed and never happened again. That seems to me like a reasonable outcome, but I think they're trying to frame it now as Wayfair, did not follow their company policy, and therefore there's some sort of issue here.
Well, on that basis, they can suck on my sugar plums.
Well, yeah, but like, what?
They got eggs all over their face on that one. There's no HR complaint even filed. What are they not obeying?
So if she goes to the Sony rep and is saying like this XYZ happened, but I don't want to file an HR complaint, like the Sony rep says, are you asking me to do anything or do you want to do anything formal here? And they explicitly say no, then they're foregoing filing an official complaint. Is that correct?
I didn't hear a word you just said because I accidentally clicked out of your thing.
No, it's all good. So if they were to go to Ange, the Sony rep, and to say, this bothered me, and then Ange says, do you want me to do something about this? And they say no, they're foregoing a complaint, is my understanding.
Look, you have to go through the formal channel. You have to file a formal complaint. This is what you got to do. These are the forms that you use. You send it to this person, and then we're going to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
It would have prompted an automatic duty on their part to follow their own handbook, which is probably governed by SAG, honestly.
Well, they never reached out to SAG. I know that much.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm quite certain that their HR policies mirror what's required from the SAG bylaws.
Okay.
And so there's mechanisms there. And so they're like, look, I'll do whatever you want me to do, but you got to file the formal complaint. So you file this and then we'll do these things. If she never does those things, and especially in her case, because she says she tried to file a complaint, and then she was told she had to do it in a specific way, and she just never did. That really, really substantially weakens her argument.
Okay. So I've moved down here to this part where they're talking about his experiences that I guess he shared. And one of those was his past pornography addiction, which he talked about, which he was never clinically diagnosed. They mentioned that here in the deposition. That and I'm gonna forgo like reading these back and forth for now because I want to summarize some of this so we can get through more.
No, you're good.
I think that he was talking about or answering Gottlieb's questions about his former pornography addiction or his past behaviors that he's described in his books, and so they're kind of badgering him with that now. And he says, like, I don't have a clinical addiction to pornography. He says, like, he was never diagnosed with any sort of addiction or anything like that.
By the way, is that an official diagnosis? Like, is it a thing?
I don't.
That you would
I actually don't know. And you would think that I would know, but I actually don't know. And
the fact that you don't know leads me to believe that it's not a legitimate diagnosis.
Yeah. And so he's saying like I'm not a doctor, but what I'm saying is I've never been diagnosed with a pornography addiction. It was something that I talked about because I felt I was consuming porn when I was emotional or in my teens, when I felt lonely, mixed with like hormones changing and all the various things. And I also wasn't exposed like a lot of boys and men are today because I was born with dial-up modems. So he has talked in his books and stuff about like pornography addiction and like inappropriate reactions to porn and stuff like that, and his sort of behaviors that he learned from porn and shit. And like basically in the sense that he's trying to help young boys not like have these unhealthy habits, but he's never been diagnosed with any sort of weird like addiction or anything like that. Not that it's weird, you know what I mean? Like I'm just saying he's never been diagnosed with an addiction or anything like that. And so this is something that she wants to bring up because she says that he was improperly like talking about his pornography addiction in a way that was like inappropriate with her, so that was somehow sexual harassment. However, the thing is they were talking about sex scenes within the movie, and somehow that came up. I don't really know exactly the context there, but he has spoken about his past experience basically in the context of the creative process of making these sex scenes. So it's a kind of like, is that really sexual harassment, I guess?
That is a mouthful. Hey, have you ever watched porn on a 56K modem?
I don't know if I've watched porn or whatever you
Or
just said.
tried to consume
Porn,
it?
so.
I'm just saying, like, people that grew up in the 90s, it was a challenge. Like, I don't think there's a way to get addicted to porn in the 90s based on a 56K modem. Like,
oh, I don't know. I was born in '92, so I don't know, dude.
well, there you go. I mean, they literally, I mean, they had like tangible stuff. They had like magazines, they had like videos, like VHS tapes, right? But if you tried to like download a image, God forbid, a video on a 56K modem, like it would be downloading for like 15 minutes, like one image, and then you get bored and then you just go do something else.
Fair enough.
It was not an effective. I'm just saying it was not an option for children of the 90s. So I agree with Baldoni's assessment on that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't even know what porn was until about 2005. So I don't know.
Well,
and even then, I was just like, ew,
Your formative years.
Yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I guess like, what does that really matter to the case is what I'm trying to say. Like, if he, in the creative process of making this movie, which had sex scenes in it, talked about this kind of past experience of his, and somehow I don't know how, but this is my read. Go ahead.
This is my read on it. There's no meritorious reason to go into this stuff. It's not relevant for any issue in the case. They start going into this stuff at trial, it's going to get objected to as irrelevance.
Yeah.
But what it is an attempt to try to embarrass and humiliate him to the point where it was borderline sanctionable to even go into these lines of questioning. Is it somewhat relevant to the case? I mean, some of this made its way into her amended complaints when she said that he was a person that had portrayed himself as going through these things or whatever and advancing or whatever. So maybe they're trying to touch on it with respect to that, but it just feels more or less like they're trying to embarrass him with these questions, and he's just not embarrassed, and it's not landing. And I think they knew it wasn't going to land. What is it? So what? Like, well, so yeah, would I get to the point when I was a teenager and hormonal? Yeah, like every other red-blooded American child of the world.
Well, let me give you a little more of the embarrassment type questions here, just for funsies, I guess. So one of the other women on set who quote unquote complained, one of her complaints was Blake, and she and Blake were having a conversation with Justin where she said, I used to stare at Britney Spears midsection for hours. And Justin said, oh my God, me too. Because this is like, think about it. They were teenagers. Britney Spears was like a little bit older than him. They were teenagers growing up. Of course, he stared at Britney Spears midsection, and he was just trying to participate in the conversation at that point. So like these women brought up Britney Spears and her bare midsection, and he was just like, oh my God, same. I looked at her midsection too. And they were like, that's sexual harassment. That's inappropriate.
Oh, is it really? Well,
because that's what they're getting at here when Gottlieb asked this question about Britney Spears, because he later, when he was filming Jane the Virgin as a full-on adult, met Britney Spears.
We should reenact this line of questioning, because this is how it's going to land with the jury.
Okay, hang on. Let me start at the top here then. Let's see. Let me start here. Okay. So once the boundary is set, somebody crosses it, you believe that person who crosses the boundary ought to be accountable.
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall ever talking about a meeting or a moment that you had with Britney Spears?
I think I do.
Do you recall meeting Britney Spears on the scene of Jane the Virgin?
I do.
Do you recall talking about that and telling a story about how I went up and gave her a hug, or I gave her a hey, and I was like, hey, I gave her a big hug, and I think I scared her because she was like, hi, and then I just kind of had this awkward moment of like, did I just harass Britney Spears? Do you recall saying that?
I don't recall saying that, but I'm sure that I said it.
Is that consistent with your recollection of how you remember that occurring, what I just said?
I don't remember giving her a hug, but I remember it. I think I was way too excited to meet her, yes. But I don't remember the details of it. I can't imagine that I was not telling the truth and sharing a story about it.
So this story is something that they're trying to use to say that he was like a sexual harasser, and they loop in Britney Spears because when he was acting that other show, this is when he met Britney Spears, what you just read. And he was obviously like an awkward, anxious dude at the moment, like meeting his childhood idol and like just being like, oh my God, we had tweeted back and forth and I gave her a hug. And then I was like, oh shit, maybe she doesn't remember me. So did I just harass Britney Spears? That's what happened. And so they're trying to make that sound like he's a creepy serial harasser.
No, he's just a red-blooded. Look, man, when I was around 19, 20 years old, I once met Beyonce in person.
Seriously?
Yes, and I don't think
I was just making sure this wasn't a hypothetical. Wait, what?
No. I didn't say anything. I don't remember what I said. I think I said hello because she was saying hello to everybody, but I was so like in awe or shock at the moment that I'm sure that it wouldn't have been weird for me to say something like, "Did I look weird? Was I staring too hard?" And it couldn't have even been like a sexual harassment. Things like, "Is that fucking Beyonce right now? Like, what are we doing?" And it was just this moment like, hey, you're starstruck. Some people get starstruck by, especially when you're younger. And Britney Spears, I don't know how old he would have been around then, but it sounds like it was just something that he said. I got way too excited. It wasn't like a creepy thing at all. If that's what he's going to try to convince a jury of, that's his defense.
That's where we're going with that, I guess, because that's what Jenny and Blake were complaining about, is that they said they used to stare at Britney's midsection, and Justin said same.
I'll tell you what, the problems that they're having, and look, I've been covering this case now for about a year. I mean, since it started, and I only just recently started to have. I saw for the very first time after my last stream the other night, supporters of Blake Lively. Where they were flabbergasted at the women in my chat and the comments being made and how they were treating women. And then they were making comments that we should be supportive of all women. And but the ratio of those comments to the other stuff, and I've literally, I know you got a lot more viewers than I have on this case, and so I'm sure you've seen and you've referenced it. But it was the first time that I've ever seen supporters of hers, like in real life, in my chat. And so the problem that they're having with this is that this is going to go in front of a jury.
Right.
And if they have men on the jury, or if they have just normal, regular folks on the jury, every single one of them is going to understand that, hey, you see some people that you might have not expected to see, or you have viewed as these like major celebrities.
Right.
And you're going to get a little excited about it. And it probably has nothing to do with sexual attraction. Like if I were to see Denzel Washington, I might have a similar reaction. And I'm not remotely gay. It's like, holy shit, that's Denzel Washington, you know, or that's Joaquin Phoenix. Like there would be that initial holy shit moment before like I settled in, you know. Russell Crowe.
My thing with the, random Blake Lively supporters who come in saying we should support all women, the problem I have with that is like, they usually make fun of how I look immediately. They say I'm fat. They're like, oh, look at the fatty defending the pervert or whatever. I'm like, wow, you guys really come in here and say support all women, and then you call me fat immediately.
Well, they just demonstrate their IQ. It's like MAGA supporters saying that that the ICE protesters are paid off. You know that. You're just not saying it. You're part of the conspiracy.
I will say there's a lot of that going around on the internet these days where it's kind of
Yeah,
like,
there's just
nobody
look,
could
man.
possibly think this way. And I'm like, no, people do think that way. And the more you try not to talk to them about it and just to insult their
Yeah.
appearance, the less distance you're going to get with those people. So,
I mean, they say that, and they say that I should respect women in my stream, but I literally defend women for a living. Like, I actually
Yeah,
defend
right.
women.
Exactly.
Like, I'm actually defending, like, putting my career and reputation on the line,
Yeah.
defending these women in these scenarios, situations, whatever, against legitimate acts of domestic violence, sexual assault, sexual harassment. And
Yeah.
so they can suck on my sugar plums with all of that.
Well, Becky says, I'm so sick of people saying women should support all women. Not all women can be trusted. We have Blake Lively and Amber Heard as proof of concept. And look, I don't know much about Amber Heard. I know enough. I know enough about Amber Heard to know that she's not totally trustworthy. But the thing is, I live in a world where I am a woman who dates women. And those women have been, in some of my experiences, abusive. So what do you do when you're a woman who dates women and you're accusing the other woman of being abusive?
Look,
It's
this is
not
something
that
that
fucking simple, because when you confront people with that, they have to acknowledge that there are some women out there who are abusive, and they'll just be like, "Well, I don't, whatever, you're fat." So it's just kind of stupid, you know what I mean? I mean, that's literally what happens. It's literally what happens every single time. They're just like, they don't know how to confront that reality that some women are abusive, some, not all. And they're just like, well, you're fat and gay. I'm just like, well, yeah,
totally.
I am both of those things. I don't have a problem with that. It doesn't mean anything about like the other person's person. You know what I mean? So like, it's just kind of ridiculous. So I don't know. My entire life, I've kind of felt like it's very hard for me to stand up for like what I've been through and what I believe in now, and how I kind of came through that, because it's like, oh, well, you're fat and gay is always the excuse, right? And I'm just like,
I mean, but I feel like you're doing so much better, because as soon as they like resort to that, they have identified themselves as
oh no, they're idiots. Like,
I could use lots of adjectives and they don't fit, you know. They disqualified themselves from like any semblance of like anyone taking them seriously. So you're fine. Let them. There's always going to be folks like that. You can't let them bother you. They're always going to be there, no matter what. Even if they reform themselves, people will take their place. There will be a percentage of people that exhibit that level of low IQ, no matter what you do. Just know there is a floor full of worms in the world, and they tend to reside there. They're either going to stay there or they will rise up after they have educated themselves. But you're never going to cure the layer of worms that this world has. Right.
Yeah. I mean, you can always try, but it exhausted me, so I'm not.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't try.
Don't
try that. Just communicate with those that are not on that level, and you'll be fine. And much more. You'll be much more sane because of it.
So speaking of the kind of other women accusing other women theory here, we're not going to read through this whole thing, but there's this woman, Claire Ayub, who directed another film. And they're asking him about it now because Claire at some point recorded this, and I don't know if you heard about this. She randomly recorded a conversation she had with Steve Sarowitz, who is Justin's like co-founder of the studio. And she was the one who turned over this recording to Blake Lively, where he made that comment about, I'll defend my studio like Israel defended against Hamas.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So she randomly recorded that conversation and randomly turned it over to Blake Lively without a subpoena, because there's no subpoena to Claire Ayub. Right. So she did that on purpose, and she turned it over to them on purpose. And apparently it made Blake Lively feel like she was threatened. She felt threatened. Her life was threatened, even though he was talking about defending his studio legally, you know. Yeah. And so they're talking about Miss Ayub here. It says, did Miss Ayub accuse you of misconduct? And Justin is like, I never heard from anyone that Miss Ayub had problems with my behavior. So he's basically saying, I don't know why she's randomly now saying that we had problems when we didn't. And so we'll start reading from here. I'll read the questions if you're good with that. And you read the answers.
I'm good. Let's do it.
I'll start right here. Even as you sit here today, have you still not heard anything? And again, I don't want to, nothing that you might have learned from your lawyers. So other than conversations you might have had with your lawyers, have you ever heard from Mr. Heath or anyone else at Wayfarer Studios that Miss Ayub had problems with your behavior during the production of Empire Waste?
Again, I'm just trying to be specific to your question. I've never heard that Miss Ayub had problems with my behavior. However, I am aware that Miss Ayub had signed a declaration that evidently said that I was abusive to her or something like that.
Have you read the declaration?
I have.
And that's a declaration Miss Ayub filed in this case, right?
Surprisingly, yes.
In the second paragraph of that declaration, Miss Ayub writes, I wrote and directed a film called Empire Waste, which was produced by Wayfarer Studios. Justin Baldoni, a founder of Wayfarer, was producer. As part of my work on Empire Waste, I had repeated negative interactions with Mr. Baldoni and his associates, including verbal abuse by Mr. Baldoni. I asked Wayfarer that Mr. Baldoni not be permitted on set during the majority of production as a result of those experiences. Do you recall reading that?
I recall reading that.
Did you verbally abuse Miss Ayub at any time? Oh, sorry.
No, I didn't.
Okay. So is it your testimony that Miss Ayub is lying in what she's written here?
It's my testimony that I did not verbally abuse her. I don't want to call her a liar.
Have you ever talked to her about whether she feels that you verbally abused her?
I spoke to her many times, especially after what could be considered an incident. And we had a lovely relationship, which is why I was invited to set, and I was very surprised.
Did anyone ever tell you that Miss Ayub had asked to have you removed from her set? Sorry.
No.
Even as you sit here today, no one's ever told you that?
No, I was never asked to be removed from her set. On the contrary, I was invited.
Did you also read in Miss Ayub's declaration that Empire Waste was set to be released in the fall of 2024 in August of that year? As a result of my experiences with Mr. Baldoni and ongoing press coverage relating to Mr. Baldoni and Ends With Us, I requested he not be involved in Empire Waste marketing or public relations effort. Wayfarer agreed to my request. Do you remember reading that?
Did.
Do you believe that statement is truthful or false?
I was not made aware that she did not want me to help promote the movie.
Okay. I think we go to a different thing there. We're not going to bother with that. But the whole point of like bringing this up was Blake was trying to suggest that he's had problem with women on set in other projects. But like he's saying basically like I had no idea we had problems. He wasn't super involved in that film. And I think at some point in this deposition or some other document, and I won't go through everything right now, he answers and says basically she was upset about the budget for the movie. He said, we can't give you the budget you're asking for. We can't do this, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes, you know, people who are trying to make films will get upset when you can't give them the money that they want. And so that's the only clash they ever had.
Let me just connect these dots. If I'm sitting on the jury, if I'm Judge Lyman, but more importantly, if I'm sitting on a jury, and I'm aware that Blake Lively treats offhanded comments about Britney Spears as inappropriate, or offhanded comments about a bed being too small for sex that she was just joking about, and he happens to comment on it, and all of a sudden they just start jumping on him as if he's being inappropriate. And it's like her circle of friends, and the standard is severe and pervasive. And, you know, the people that are saying this about him happen to be in Blake Lively's circle. They don't come off as credible when they don't have any evidence of concrete instances of sexual harassment. And all they have are like these innuendos or these joking moments where they've all coalesced to decide that Baldoni is somehow being inappropriate. Give me anything other than that. Like, what was he doing? Like, what did he do? Like, he raised his hand in front of your chest, or was it his chest, or was it your chest? Or do you even know? Was his hand closer to yours, or was it closer to his? And she's like, I don't recall. I was like, well, that's kind of an important detail. You know, you're wearing a onesie, and you're claiming that he's saying that you were sexy or hot. He said that you appear to be hot, as in like the temperature was hot because it was like 90 degrees in the studio, and you're wearing a onesie. And your appearance was that like you were flushed and you were sweating like like you'd just been running a marathon or whatever. You're a little bit swampy in there. And so he makes the comments, you look hot. What's the more likely scenario? That he's trying to sexually harass or making a comment as to what you appear to be physically doing as you sit in this really hot onesie in this really hot studio.
Mm-hmm.
And even as I say that, it's ambiguous if you don't have the context between everything that I said.
Right. And I just got down here just for more context, exactly what I was talking about, but I didn't know how to put the words there. He says, Claire and I had a lovely relationship. She was a first-time filmmaker. I very much believed in the film she was trying to make. Also, I was made aware that she was very inexperienced, so I had offered to mentor her and help her any way that I could. So we went back and forth. We had a few calls, I believe, and I was building a relationship with her from that point. And at the same time, Claire was working with her producing partner to get the budget in line for the movie. We had greenlit her movie at $2 million. It was a movie that nobody else wanted. It was a movie that I believed in the message of very strongly, and I wanted to support her. And we had a partner at the time, which was Procter & Gamble. And it was my understanding that the budget had inflated from 2 million to 3, then to 4, then to 5 million. After multiple conversations with my executive team, she was unable to get the budget down. On a phone call with Procter & Gamble, I imagine there were 8 or 9, maybe 10 people on that call. Procter & Gamble was not putting much in. We were the majority financiers, and I was very clear with her that we would not be making her movie if she couldn't get her budget down. That was the extent of the conversation. There was no voice raised. It was me simply acting as the chairman. There was no president, or I don't believe there was a CEO, and I just said, we won't be making your movie unless you get the budget down. And my understanding was that she was very unhappy with that, and that she felt what was relayed to me that I threw her under the bus, which is also very typical. I mean, directors are unhappy with studios all the time when people won't make their movies at the price, but that was it. And then I think maybe a month went by, and I sent her a voice note before day 1 of filming. I'm sure by now you're familiar with my voice notes. And then he makes a joke about the voice notes he sent to Blake, which he makes fun of, but yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a very logical answer to the question. And that's going to, if that were, number one, they're never going to ask him that at trial.
Mm-hmm.
Because that answer is going to make a lot of sense to a jury. And then it's going to be like, okay, so when these female people do not get their way, is it their practice that they're going to revert to, well, I was harassed. I was gender discriminated against. This is a man's world, and I'm just living in it, and I can't get my movie made because no matter how illogical the financial structure is, the real reason is I was raped. I'm filing a lawsuit, CRD complaints, sexually harassed, gender discrimination, all of the things.
Yep.
That seems to be Lively's playbook, and it seems to be mirroring this lady's playbook. And if that's what we're doing, then look, in a world where credibility is everything, which is at trial, it's not going to land. They're not going into this line of questioning at trial. Right. If they do, they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Mm-hmm. There's just, I think a lot of people are caught up in this because, like, this works for headlines for the Daily Mail and shit like that. But, like, for a jury in court, are they even going to bring this up? Is my kind of question. It's like,
no, I mean, that's kind of the point of depositions. Is like you're testing some of this stuff. Yeah. Like they're asking her things. They're asking him things out of this deposition just to gauge his reaction. Mm-hmm. Does he have a good response to this? Is this going to land with the jury? And the answer is yes. It will land with the jury. You will look stupid if that's the question. He has a really good explanation for all of your questions. And so don't go there. Don't even touch it. Don't even touch it. And so, part of this was experimental on their part.
Okay. I need to ask you a favor. Will you read the left side of this page and give your thoughts on it to the people while I go to the bathroom? I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
The left side of the page.
Just ramble for a while.
Okay. I got you. Do you know that she testified under oath in this case? Yes. Are you aware that she testified that there was a culture of hugging on the set of It Ends With Us? Well, I am now. Are you aware that she said that made a number of people uncomfortable? I find that odd. You find that odd? Why? Because Mrs. Baker was often the one that would run up and give me a hug. And because of that, you find it odd that she testified that a number of people felt uncomfortable with the culture of hugging on the set of It Ends With Us? Correct. Do you remember earlier when you testified about the hot tub? You're referring to what? sexually harassed? When you were sexually harassed in the hot tub, yes. Do you remember the moment when you thought, maybe I should do what this powerful person is suggesting that I ought to do? I don't know if I testify to having a moment where I thought maybe I should do what he's suggesting I do. Do you remember saying that to Glamour? I don't remember saying that to Glamour. Do you remember thinking that for moments? I remember seeing his naked. Unfortunately, the page cuts off and I cannot scroll because this is Lauren's stream. And so uncomfortable because of the culture of hugging on this. What are we doing? There's an objection. All right. I'm not sure how my assumption of Miss Baker's testimony would lead to perjury. Oh, Lauren, I really need to see what's at the top of this page, or what am I missing? What's cut off here? How do we get to perjury? Do you or do you not think she was being truthful when she said that multiple people felt uncomfortable about a culture of hugging on the set of It Ends With Us? I think she was being truthful. That's not why I said I thought it was odd. Okay. Did you ever hear from anyone on the set of It Ends With Us that daily hugging, was making them uncomfortable? There was a point in time that I heard that, yes. And when was that? That was from Angie Giannetti and I believe Alex Sachs. You recall when that was? It was early on in production, maybe first week. Lauren, it's creepy that you're hearing me read. Like, as you're going to be arrested. Oh, this is the question, by the way. The one leading to perjury. Do you think Miss Baker was perjuring herself when she said that multiple people felt that harassment? All right, I get it. There's nothing really there.
So they said that there was harassment not because they hugged them, but because there was a culture of hugging.
Yeah. Well, if there's a culture of hugging, by definition of the word culture, that means that the general norm being hugging, that it's a culture that you consent into being a part of that culture, and it's normalized within that setting.
Yeah.
So a culture of hugging, making someone uncomfortable, is kind of a misnomer, because by continuing to be part of that culture of hugging, you necessarily consent to it.
Yeah. So
just logically speaking.
I'm yawning. I've got like 5 more minutes in me, guys. 8 more minutes. Let's give 8 more minutes.
We'll go as long as you want to go.
Okay.
Or as short as you want to go.
They were kind of saying there was this culture of hugging they were not comfortable with, and so they did not want them to hug them. But the thing is, they didn't want them to hug anybody. So even when they weren't hugging them being Blake Lively and her people, even though they would walk up and hug Justin or Jamie, they said, we don't want you to hug us. And so basically, like, even if they didn't hug them, they would see them hugging other people. And they said, I'm uncomfortable with the culture of hugging on the set.
All right. Well, don't hug anyone then.
But should somebody saying, I don't want to be hugged, mean that you can't hug the people who want to be hugged?
Not at all. Like, look, if people
That's what they're saying, though.
You cannot defeat a culture of hugging because you object to it. If it's the culture, you don't get to unilaterally change the culture because it makes you uncomfortable.
That's kind of what they're getting at, though. They're like, there was a culture of hugging. We didn't want to be hugged, so nobody can be hugged, basically.
They're grasping at straws. And like, these aren't even allegations that shed any weight on these causes of action from Lively. And so they're trying any little stupid thing that they could possibly conjure points with a jury. And if this is it, there was a culture of hugging on set that made her uncomfortable, that's not going to rule the day. Remember the definition: severe and pervasive behavior, such that an objective person would believe that somebody's subjective objection to that behavior was severe and pervasive enough to constitute sexual harassment.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the definition is.
Oh,
you're never going to find that.
Now, right? It's like, so she would walk up and you can see in the footage that included, like, she would walk up and hug them. And there was one point where Isabella walked up and tried to hug him, but he had already gotten this complaint about hugging. So he like rejected the hug and went for a high five. And it's like, dude, this guy was doing everything to tiptoe around your weirdo obsession with like accusing him of shit. So it's just weird. Hang on, let me get you some of these. Ricardo, thank you for the $2. Hi,
What's up,
lovelies. Hi,
Ricardo?
Omar, Lauren. Thank you. Happy
Hello,
Friday.
lovelies.
This is for you, man.
Brittany got hit by Victor Wembanyama's bodyguard. Brittany, who? Spears?
Spears, I guess. Yeah.
Got hit by Victor Wembanyama's bodyguard when she got starstruck and tried to tap him on the back. He thought she was trying to harass him. Justin's not trying to come off as a crazy fan. Yeah, it's weird when you get excited when you meet somebody that you didn't expect to meet, or somebody that, like, imagine if you met Willy Wonka. Just imagine that you met Gene Wilder.
I met Miley Cyrus. Let's go with that.
Okay, go Miley Cyrus.
If I met Miley Cyrus, oh my God, I would walk up to her. So let me put it this way: have you ever watched Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, not recently, but yes.
Okay, do you know who Leslie Jones is?
Yes.
Okay, so I met Leslie Jones.
Oh, boy.
Right, a couple months ago. She came here to do a show in town, and I walked up to her, and I was like, "Oh my God, I don't want to be weird." In my mind, I'm just like freaking out. I was so nervous, and she gave me like this biggest hug. And I was just like, I don't even know you. So people just do that. Like, some people just hug. And I'm sure if I told her, oh, I hate hugs, she would be like, oh, I'm so sorry, and give me a high five or something. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be like, oh, I'm not a hugger.
It's just like,
all you have to do is express yourself as an adult one time, and then people will stop. And if they don't, that's when you file a complaint.
Yeah, no, agreed with that. It's just, hey, man, there's certain people in the world. I don't know, man. I don't know who I would ever be starstruck by. Like, what if
yeah.
I don't know, Barack Obama came in like to.
Hang on. I'm gonna find this picture of me and my parents with Leslie Jones while you answer this next super chat. That's for you, by the way. Here you go.
Got it. Lyman released audio with her name because she wants to be a part of this case, even though Wayfair was willing to protect her name. Remember, Lyman said, "Nah." I genuinely have no idea what we're talking about. What audio are we talking about, Lauren?
Audio with her name because she wants to be part of the case. I guess it was. So they're saying that Lyman released the audio with Claire's name, I guess, because she wants to be part of the case. I think that it's not really up to Lyman what audio gets submitted. So, like, if the other party, Blake's side, releases this audio from Claire saying she has some evidence of wrongdoing with Justin, it's then, you know, a responsible move on the judge's part to be like, the public gets to hear this, is my opinion, because like, it wasn't up to Judge Lyman whether or not they submitted that evidence, right? It's just,
but it is up to him on whether or not to release it or not.
So he could have said, no, the public can't hear this. And then we could have just wondered forever. There was this lady who said all these things about Justin that we don't know about. But he instead said the public gets to hear this. So in my opinion on that, I don't know about Omar, is that he did.
If I saw Michelle Obama walking into a Taco Bell,
yeah,
that would be a freak out moment for like, oh, is that Michelle Obama? I'm certain I would have a weird response to that. Like, I would not go up to her. I wouldn't say anything to her, but I'm sure, like, on the inside, I'd be like, holy shit, that's Michelle Obama. And I would be, like, starstruck by it. Like, that would be an example of one person that I would be legitimately starstruck. I don't really get starstruck by much. Yeah. But Michelle Obama counts. Yeah, Dave Chappelle's a good one. He's like, holy shit, that's Dave Chappelle. Let me not say something stupid in front of Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Or Bill Burr or somebody. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jill 199, thank you for the $5. Question for Omar: the case of Justin's that the judge threw out, can he appeal? You answer that while I find. I'm still trying to find this picture with Leslie Jones.
Apparently, well, there's a 60-day time window where you have the ability to appeal a final decision on a motion like that. I heard the other day on my live stream from Leanne and Emma from House of Chatter podcast that their timeline to file the appeal was stayed, and so they can still file the 12B6, the motion that got his complaint dismissed. They can appeal it. Are they going to appeal it? They can. It's really the only leverage that they really have going into whatever settlement negotiations they're going to talk about leading up to May. And so the question was for the case of Justin that the judge threw out, can he appeal? Yeah, he can appeal. He can. And he will if he thinks it's worth it to him. I think that they can write a better complaint now that they've completed the initial phases of discovery and they have a better understanding.
They can do that though? I'm confused about whether or not they can do that.
So I don't, mind you, I'm going off third-party sources here. I don't know this for sure. I didn't see this particular ruling myself, but I heard through the grapevine through Leanne Newton and Emma yesterday, or whenever I did my last live stream, that their time frame to file an appeal on the 12B6 was stayed, meaning that it hasn't started yet. And if they want to, at some point, when the stay is lifted, they can file an appeal on the 12B6. And so I didn't know that was the case. I had been going under the assumption that the time for appeal was over. Because once the 12B6 is ruled upon, you got 60 days to file a notice of appeal and what forth, and that's long since passed. But if that timeline was extended or stayed, then they still have that ability. And that will be a key negotiating leverage point that they're going to use in negotiation settlements or settlement negotiations.
Oh.
Hey, Leslie, man, she got old.
So did we.
That's true.
This is for you too.
I love when Omar says, "How about that?" Yes, ma'am.
It's like a catchphrase.
It is my catchphrase. My girls start doing this. Hey, well, how about you know what my daughter said the other day? She's like, "Well, you got a big back. How about that?" So I go, "Yeah, you got a big back, you little shit."
Oh no, she knows what big back means already.
I don't even know what that means. I thought she was talking to her. She's saying I have a big
means
butt.
Fat.
What does that mean?
It means fat, dude.
She said, "Dad, you got a big back." It's like,
She's calling you fat. I don't know what else to tell you, bro. I got one more on here I can show you. Hang on. Where is it? It's of all of us. We all went to her show, and she was so she literally stayed there after the show until every single person who wanted to talk to her got to talk to her, and she like sat there and had conversations. She didn't like wave
what a
everyone
sweetheart.
She's awesome. She screamed for her entire show. Also, I was just like, how do you have the energy to do this at however old she is? But like, that's me and my parents with Leslie.
That's your parents?
Yeah. You've seen them on streams and stuff, but maybe not on
You look just like your dad.
Yeah, I guess.
You're like an exact 50-50 mix of your mom and dad. That is crazy.
Makes sense too. I hear that a lot. So
nobody wins in that fight.
So that was me and my parents and Leslie. We went to see her out at St. John. She was here doing a show, and I miss her on SNL. She was really cool though. I like to meet her, so she was awesome. But she's like, if you guys ever get a chance to meet Leslie, go see a show of hers. She will like hang out until you get to talk to her and get to know her a little bit. Like she's that's
so cool, awesome man. You know, she seems like she would be that type too.
She like, totally was. When I say she screamed the entire show, she had so much energy. Like I can't imagine doing what she did.
Oh, I know her style
having the energy to talk to people after. I was just like, oh my God. Anyways, we'll answer some more questions and then we'll probably call it a night after this. I got some questions for you in the chat. How about this?
All right. Could Wayfair have amended based on what they found in discovery regarding Ryan and Leslie? Yes, I think they can. The whole issue that Judge Lyman have their 12B6, even though I thought it was improperly ruled upon, was that he didn't understand how a jury was supposed to find malice on the basis that there wasn't a tangible exchange of money that would constitute or attach to malice. Like malice doesn't mean that he did it with like mean intentions in his heart. Like he did it for financial gain. It's basically what malice means in this context. And I think that there's way more evidence than we ever thought. That's why I wanted to have Anita on the stream. And by the way, she's still alive, by the way.
Yeah, totally. I was just talking to her today, and then she was like, I told her we were going live today, and she was like, that's 5 a.m. for me. I was like, you know what? Don't worry about it. That's like way too early. So yeah, I'm trying to do something with her tomorrow.
Yeah, same. We're going to bring Anita back, but her whole, she cracked this whole theory like a long time ago. But a lot of these text messages, communications demonstrate that they were 100% trying to steal the movie away, and they intended it to become a franchise for Blake Lively, like this $1 billion thing. That was her vision for it. You know, they were threatening. Yeah, I 100% think that they could fill in the gaps that would have cured the 12B6. And if that's the case, even when I had a conversation with Rachel Wars about this, when it had first happened. Me and her thought that, yeah, it's weird that they would rule on it now, as they just got it started with discovery. When what happens if like discovery cures the holes in this complaint?
Well, I mean, the discovery did show a lot of stuff on Ryan's part, at least. So it's like it's a little confusing to me as to why that was dismissed right away. But
Well, because the problem is that there was no tangible exchange of money, and so like if it came up in a case that I'm working on right now, like how could you say it's extortion if or an extortionary threat if money wasn't threatened or to change hands?
I mean, wasn't it kind of threatened though? Because if Blake and Ryan leave WME, that's a pretty big hit.
Yeah, but
Deadpool leaves WME, you know what I mean? So
kind of does not rule the day in a complaint to survive 12b6.
I think
You
that's
got
a
to
little
connect the dots.
fucked up.
I know. Well, that's the point. Like you have to connect the dots for the jury. You can't force the judge to connect the dots for you. And I think Lyman pretty much. I think he used that language. Like I can't like connect the dots for you. You got to connect the dots for me.
My main issue with that was that I felt like he made a lot of arguments for them on their behalf to close things out to the way they could not cure it, and I felt
he
like
treated it like an MSJ. Yeah, he was.
I felt it was possible. I thought it was possible to fix it.
So
and he did not give him the opportunity. So
yeah, I would have. The fact that he even ruled on it at that juncture, like he could have waited 3 months,
right? Yeah.
And then got a better offer.
I think he probably should have, but I feel like the New York Times aspect of it kind of rushed things along, to be honest. So
yeah, no, they did. Many attorneys agree with me that 12b6 should not have been ruled upon. I haven't heard any attorney analysis that says that, oh yeah, Judge Lyman was totally correct in that. Everybody has a problem with how he ruled on 12b6.
Yeah.
So now the question is, could it have been cured had he just waited a few months? And I think the answer is yes. I mean, not that they would have prevailed on the merits, but at least enough to survive a 12b6, which is literally just plead enough where if everything you say is true, then it leads to this cause of action. Yeah, I think they could have done that.
Yeah. Shanine and Shannon Connolly, Shanine Connolly. I keep saying Shannon. I'm sorry. It's Shanine Connolly.
I would not have pronounced that Shanine. You're better than I.
Yeah. Strictly just asking for your opinion, knowing what you both know. Do you think this will go to trial in May? I just, as a non-lawyer, I would say I would think that some of the more complicated stuff with fact issues would go to trial in May, based on what I heard when he was talking about the contract stuff. But like when he was talking about the sexual harassment stuff, he seemed very much in tune with like how the industry works and how it's not appropriate or realistic to say that a director should demand like a contract or an intimacy coordinator every time he moves a hand in a different place or whatever, when he's talking to different people directing scenes. Like, I don't know, it just I didn't really buy it, especially from what he was saying. So it didn't seem like he was really wanting to move forward with the sexual harassment stuff. Maybe he will go a different direction than I expect, but I think that no matter what his decision is, it's not going to go well for her at trial as far as this goes.
I'll tell you what, first of all, you said Shanine Connolly. You know how I pronounced it the other day?
Shanine, yep.
I said Shannon Cannoli.
I thought it was Shannon. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was my bad.
No, I'm sure.
I don't know what your problem is. I was closer. So
first of all, I could barely see. So when the letters are so small, I saw cannoli and I ran with it. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that the SH stuff, I just don't see a path forward going forward. I really don't.
Yeah.
Based on what Lyman was saying about the contemporaneous aspects of the allegations and her filing of complaints or not filing of complaints, about her, he fails to see how she was even subjectively bothered by some of these allegations, based on the standard being severe and pervasive conduct. I just, even if we take into consideration everything that she says is true, I'm not buying it. I don't think Judge Lyman is buying it. And the fact that he's making the argument.
If I asked you, what would you consider sexual harassment in the workplace based on the law, severe and pervasive? What would an example of that be?
I've been using the main one I've been using is Last Tango in Paris. So that was the movie made in 1973. It involved a rape scene, essentially. And they never told the actress that she was actually going to be digitally penetrated. So
Yeah,
here she
I
is.
remember you talking about that pretty recently, I think.
Yeah, she's doing this scene, and Marlon Brando is going through all the motions, but then he actually penetrates her vagina with his fingers. And she's like, dude, what the fuck? And like her reaction on camera was completely genuine because she had no idea that was going to happen. That would be an example of
horrifying.
severe and pervasive in 2026. That would never fly, but that was not the case in 1973.
Oh my God. Somebody says, I think Lyman throws everything out and then No Teeth still wins because the publicity all in her favor. Honestly, I think people are seeing through the media at this point, the headlines from People and shit like that, especially after they all came out and said Taylor Swift had nothing to do with this. And then we see texts from Taylor Swift that show she had a lot to do with this. So like, I think a lot of people are seeing through that. I think that if the judge throws this out, that will say a lot to people. I think it will.
I gotta answer a Christina 99's question. What would be so that was sexual assault? What would be a sexual harassment? Like sexual harassment would very much be like Harvey Weinstein level casting couch stuff.
You know who loves Harvey Weinstein is Blake Lively.
Of course she does.
I'm not kidding. That's 100% true. Like she was a huge supporter of both Woody Allen and Harvey Weinstein, even after allegations came out. So.
Yeah, no, Harvey Weinstein literally said, look, I can make or break your career. What are you going to do for it? Casting couch. Like they came from somewhere, right? And he's not even the inventor of that. Look, they've been doing that since like the 1910s. Like ever since they were making films, like before sound was even a thing in movies where they're making these silent films, directors could make or break your life. How much does it mean to you? What are you willing to do for your part in this role?
Yeah.
In this movie, which could potentially change your life. That's been a thing for going on 150 years now.
Right.
And I'm sure it's not unique to Hollywood. I'm sure that's been going on. I don't know how many thousands of years of human civilization we have recorded. But whenever there is an opportunity for a person to lord it over another person, that I can do something for you that will change your life, therefore do what I say, I'm willing to bet that human nature being what it is, that this has been a thing going on for as long as we've recorded human history, human civilization. How about that?
All right, guys. I think I gotta call it a night because it's 12:15 a.m. here, so I gotta take off and sleep and do something else this weekend, hopefully, other than work.
Well,
so
don't do anything I wouldn't do, and also stay inside. It's safer in there.
I mean, there's like a very wide scope with the first thing you said and a very narrow one with the second thing you said. I'm not really sure what to do about that. So
go feed your dog.
My dog's at my parents' house. Actually, I'll get him tomorrow. But,
well, there you go.
Yeah, my mom, she's running some sort of half marathon or something this weekend, so I'll get him back tomorrow.
What's her time?
What's her time?
How fast could you run a half marathon?
Me or her?
You.
I don't know the answer to either, so.
I challenge you to a half marathon race. It's only fair because I swam. I raced you in swimming. It's only fair that we do a half marathon. You know what? Let's make it a 5K.
That would be way better. It's like way more realistic. I don't know what the fuck you're asking for right now. I'm like, I've never run that far in my life. I'm not even in my peak shape. So, yeah.
Well, nor am I. I'm 45 years old, but I have ran 5 marathons in my life, and then I decided that running is stupid, and I just retired from running because it was really boring. It was not my thing. But I'll do a 5K. I can run a 5K in say 20 minutes or so.
Okay, that's bad, but I can deal with that because I'm also bad. So, you know.
I mean, I'm not a freaking track star, but I'm pretty sure I could put up a sub 20 time or right around 20. I don't know. We'll see. You know what? Let's think this out. Let's not commit to anything while I'm 0.15.
Well, we'll figure it out later. Because I'm not going back. I'm not going back out to LA anytime within the next 3 months. So we're gonna have to wait a little longer. But yeah.
Well, then you got time to train.
All right, guys. I'm sending you over to my friend Lau Lil Ducky, who's streaming on the Laura Owens bankruptcy. Well, I can't talk. Stop.
Oh boy.
Tell her I said hi, and I will see you guys later. I'm hitting the end button now. Bye.
All right.